Hey everyone, on this episode of the BrokerLink podcast, we're going to break down this question. Why is email marketing still number one in 2020? I thought email marketing was dead. Turns out that's the furthest from the truth. So stay tuned to learn more how you can use email marketing to grow your online presence.
Welcome to the BrokerLink podcast, where agents go to grow their insurance business.
All right, here we go. So we're back in the studio with Chris Houston. She's a content creator here at the Brokerage Inc. We introduced her in another podcast, but just once more about her. She is our videographer. She's our podcast editor. She's helped with social media strategy, just about everything. She is a huge asset, and she's got lots of experience, and she's actually a blogger in her free time. She also does her own email marketing, something completely non-insurance related.
Right.
So she's got great insights, and I always think it's good to bring in somebody who has that insurance experience, but also has some outside knowledge that they can bring in. So she knows a little bit of both. So really excited to have you in the studio again, Chris.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, so let's get into this discussion about email marketing. If you're listening to this podcast, did you know that at least 99% of consumers check their email on a daily basis?
I believe it, especially with everyone having a phone so close by at all times.
Yeah. As we were talking just now, I just got 3 emails on my phone that distracted me from what she just said. I'm going to put my phone away now. So that may not have been the truth before smartphones, and email was pretty popular, but I really think that now that we have smartphones and almost everyone has it, 99% of people check their email on a daily basis. You can't not check it.
You can't not look. And as much as you want to turn off your notifications, you just can't do it.
Yeah. So one time I was on this minimalist trip. I was trying to really just, I don't know what they call it, digital.
Like a digital detox.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, I missed emails that I needed to see.
Oh.
And I realized, because some people suggest, well, just turn off your notifications and then check it when you have a moment. Sometimes things are urgent and you really got to get to it.
Right.
So you're checking that email. We all know you're checking it.
Yeah.
All right. So for over a decade, marketing experts everywhere have predicted that email marketing would be dead by 2020 and replaced with other platforms. They were wrong. And you all know that if you're listening, email is not dead whatsoever. So have you implemented an email marketing strategy? Have you done it? Well, let's take it back a step. What is email marketing to begin with? I think we use that terminology and agents are just like, yeah, email marketing. Okay. What?
What do I do with email marketing?
What do I do? Do I send people emails? I mean, what do you, I have a Gmail, that might be your thought. And honestly, it's not doing it justice if we don't go in and talk about it. We really should. And we're sorry. Sometimes we just assume, because Chris and I are just digital marketing nerds and we love this stuff. We just assume everybody's speaking our language when really you don't, maybe this isn't your thing.
Right.
You don't know all these terms.
So, right. We're going to explain it to you now.
We're going to dive in. All right. So email marketing, as just a pure definition, it's a highly effective online marketing strategy for sending emails to prospects and customers. So effective marketing emails, they convert your prospects into customers. And here's the most important part. They turn one-time buyers into loyal fans.
Right.
You're building an audience. So here's the other great thing. And Chris has talked about this on other podcasts. We've mentioned it in our lectures. Your email marketing list is yours.
Right. You own that.
You own it, just like your website. So if you have people in that chain of communication, no one can take that away from you unless they unsubscribe. Which if they unsubscribe, either you're not putting out good content,
right,
or they really just don't want to hear from you. So people just unsubscribe from things.
And that's okay, because then that's not your audience. That's not who you're trying to reach anyway.
Exactly. So there's three things to hit on here. Email marketing is direct. Okay, so every person on your list receives an email the same way that they'd receive a piece of mail. Right? It's direct. It's much different than finding a piece of content in a news feed, even if it's personalized. Think about that, everybody. You can put stuff on social media, which we've talked about, you should be doing on a regular basis, but it's hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
Email it's direct. It's like getting a piece of mail. It's addressed to that person, and it's a specific message for them that they will look at because it pops up on their phone.
And it's way more personal.
Yeah.
Because you can be more personal. You can add someone's name to it. You can really reach out to somebody through email marketing.
The second point we want to hit on is that email marketing is necessary. What do we mean by that? Well, you can go a few days without checking social media. You can go a few days without video chatting with your friends and family, but most people check their email not just once a day, several times a day.
Oh, yeah.
So it's direct, it's necessary, and then the third point we want to hit on there is that it's customizable. You can create an email campaign on any subject, add any bells and whistles that you need to get the job done, and it's incredibly inexpensive. Despite the rise of social media and unsolicited spam email, which is never a good marketing strategy, by the way.
No.
Do not spam people.
No.
Bad idea.
Explain what you mean by that.
What I mean by that, first of all, there's part of it that's actually like unethical and somewhat illegal.
Right.
Like if you just like cold email people that never consented to your communications, there's this thing called the Can Spam Act with the federal government, and there are some violations that you can get yourself into trouble with there. That's the first thing. Also, if you're in the Medicare space, that's not even compliant to begin with. So
don't do it.
Don't be emailing people that didn't ask you to email them.
Right.
But then the other part with that, be respectful. Mm-hmm. So when I say don't spam people, don't send them an email every day.
Right.
You may not need to send them an email even every week.
Right.
Send them emails that are helpful and actually engaging.
Right.
So that's what I mean by don't spam. So even with social media and tons of emails, because there are people that still spam and it's annoying, and we unsubscribe.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why people thought email marketing would be dead, is because just this rise in like spam emails.
Right.
Even still, email remains the most effective way to nurture leads and turn them into your clients. It really is the number one way. And tons of data can back that up. Okay. So the next segment here, we're going to compare email marketing to social media. Because if you're listening to this podcast, that means you probably listened to the one before, which was social media strategy. Mm-hmm. Let's compare the two. So there's no question, as we discussed, that social media is a primary player in your marketing mix. Right. What do we say? It's your meta gap. It fills the gaps. So there are more than 4.3 billion internet users in the world. How many people are in the world? Like 7 billion?
Yeah. I think there's just about that.
Yeah. So 4.3 billion internet users in the world, and nearly 80% of them do have social media accounts. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
But guess what? Even more have email accounts.
Yeah.
Because everyone who has a social media account has email, because they have to have it to sign up. And then everyone who's not on social media, they probably still have email. So this shouldn't be a surprise, because email has been around far longer than social media. Right. Email was like, kind of became mainstream in 1996 with Hotmail. Mm-hmm. And then social media came down the road. So it shouldn't be a surprise. Also, there's more utility in email. Some people just don't like social media.
Yeah, and you can get a lot more information out in an email than you can on a social media post.
Right. So if we showed you like a chart, this is brought to you by Opt-in Monster, who is not sponsoring this podcast, but we like them a lot. Opt-in Monster is a company that allows you to do pop-up forms and build your email list on your website. So if you have a WordPress site, definitely check out that plugin. Once again, that was not sponsored, just an idea for you.
Wait, what's it called again?
Opt-in Monster.
Opt-in Monster.
So they do a lot of statistical analysis on these studies because it's really relevant to what they do, because they try to help people build their email list.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to back up, these studies. So from ages 15 to 24, 91% have emails. 88% have social media. Even with the children, more have email than social media.
Interesting.
Okay. Now these gaps get bigger and bigger as ages grow up.
Yeah.
So from age 25 to 44, 93.4% have email, 78% have social media. So now we got a 20% gap. Ages 45 to 64, 90.5% have email, 64% of social media. So now we've gone to a 30% gap.
Yeah.
And then if you're in the senior market, which we know most of our agents are, 65 and up, 85.5% have emails. 85.5% have emails.
Wow.
37% have social media.
Well, it makes sense. Think about it. Anytime you sign up for anything, you have to have an email. So, even if it's a retail site or you're signing up for social media, you still have to have that email account.
That's right. Yeah, you can't, to my understanding, for almost any platform, you can't sign up if you don't have an email.
Right.
So keep that in mind, everybody. Now, what do we say? Social media is important. It's essential, actually.
Right.
You need to be on there. But it supplements this other stuff.
Right.
So how can they be used together to increase your engagement and your return on investment? Social media versus email marketing. All right, let's talk about what social media is good for. And we've discussed this in the other podcast. It's excellent at driving traffic to your site. It helps you to build brand recognition and loyalty. And it helps you to build a community with your followers. What is email marketing good for? Now, this is more relevant to salespeople, right? We're entrepreneurs. We're selling insurance. Email delivers targeted, personalized messages in real time, personalized to the user. It converts your subscribers into customers, and it helps with client relationships and client retention. And what we mean by that is you can stay in touch with your clients through email, which helps them to feel like they know you better. They can respond to you.
Right.
See, if you post something on social media, they may or may not see it. Okay. And social media is good, but if I send somebody a direct email, that's my message to them. It feels very personal, and it helps me to feel like I have a relationship with you, which you should have a relationship with your clients.
Yeah, and then they can reach you a lot easier through email, like you mentioned, than through social media.
Yeah, definitely. And there's also calculations on return on investment between the two, email and social media. So there's about 3.8 billion email users and 3.4 billion social media users. Now, keep in mind, pretty much you can see those two platforms as they have almost the same amount of users. Okay, and in no way are we trying to downplay social media today.
No, not at all.
And you should know that if you've listened to our other stuff, it's important. But we just try to help you guys to know what's going to best grow your business for your buck. Right. And preferred channel for promotions is email, about 60% compared to 20% social media. And that's why we also said with advertising in the previous podcast, Facebook advertising, for example, let somebody else handle that and deal with the headache of that. Because the reality is only 20% of people prefer social media for promotions. Most people just go on there for entertainment, to waste their time, essentially.
Exactly.
Really, it's just a big time waste.
Here's an example. Like, just look at the retail industry. They are excelling at email marketing.
Yeah.
Every day there's a new sale or there's a new coupon code or something. You don't see that as much on social media.
Right.
So they are just taking email marketing to a whole new level.
Yeah, and also user preferences have become way more customized. So you used to just like, let's say a company, I don't know, let's just use like a big retailer like Macy's or something. Let's say they were getting on your nerves, so you unsubscribed. Back in the day, that was it. Well, now when you try to unsubscribe from companies, what you might have noticed is they ask you a set of questions. It might be like, so sorry to see you go. Hey, would you rather just receive less frequent emails? Or would you rather learn about another product or service? And it'll ask you a set of questions to help qualify you, and then that puts you into a different marketing funnel so that they don't completely lose
you.
touch. They just better accommodate your preferences.
Right, but it's also a great opportunity for them to know what they're doing wrong. Maybe you are getting too many emails from Macy's and you're letting them know that. And they think, okay, well, maybe then we need to cut back. And so, it's still a good marketing tool to use a survey at the end of every relationship.
That's right. And think about your email inbox. So email inboxes have definitely evolved to accommodate this. So if you're a Gmail user, you probably noticed that you've got primary, education, and then promotions tabs. Same with Yahoo. Outlook, I don't believe, does have that feature, but so these inbox systems have learned to qualify different emails as promotional or personal. So one thing that you might do every once in a while is you go over to your promotions tab and you can see all your promotions at one time. Pretty cool, right? That's not the case with social media. If you see an ad on social media, you probably just scroll past it unless it's just super intriguing to you.
Right.
It's also harder to target people on social media. In other words, if they've opted into your email communications, you know they're interested. Social media, you don't really know. You're just throwing stuff out there to see. So you can get a really good return on investment. So depending on the source, most researchers suggest that you make an average of $38 to $42 for every $1 you spend on email marketing.
Interesting.
And if you go to our blog, you can see that study. We've got the reference for that. I'm not just pulling that out of my rear.
All like of this, everything else.
all of this is backed by science.
Science. Okay.
Research.
We're relying on science these days. So
science. Yes. It's not just me talking. This is pretty incredible.
It is.
And that's just an estimate. Okay, based on other studies. You might get a higher return on investment. Especially if you have a smaller audience. Like if you're just a local agent, you don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So you're paying very little money for your email marketing system. Yeah. You could get a good return on investment. And what are we talking about? Well, here's what I'm saying. If you are somebody who sells Medicare Advantage, for example, there are still some gaps in that plan type that something like hospital indemnity could be great at fitting. So you could create an email series educating your Medicare Advantage clients on those possibilities in a very good way.
Right.
In a way that's encouraging and it's informative and it's not pushy. They like to get those things through email. That's what they see email is for. It's for that kind of information. Right. And so thereby you are creating your own leads through email marketing. And let's say you sold a few plans of hospital indemnity and your commission, I don't know, let's say it's overall $1,500 from those few plans. I would say you've made your money over time and time and time and time again for what it's costing you to have that email system.
And also with an email like that, you are touching so many people at once. So you're not just sending out one email. You are sending out a campaign, which could be made up of thousands of emails. So think about that return on that one email.
That's right. And that's why you got to have some kind of system in place, which there's a ton. We use ActiveCampaign here at the brokerage. And I've discussed before, that may not be the best fit for you. In fact, there is a platform that I'm now starting to push agents to that I really like called GMass. GMass. Not sponsoring this podcast, but GMass. So if you have Gmail, a regular Gmail, it actually builds in mass email function to your Gmail inbox.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you could have your email list on a Google spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, and that's where that information lives. And then GMass actually pulls that data and creates mass email functionality in your Gmail.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think, honestly, for a lot of insurance agents, that might be the fit for you. Okay. Now, if you got an agency and you want to have a built-in CRM and all this functionality, I'm going to push you more towards ActiveCampaign, something like that, something really advanced. But check out GMass because I'm talking like $79 a year probably.
It's very reasonable.
Or if you want to remove the footer, which I always like to do that with anything I use. The footer meaning like brought to you by Gmail or brought to you by MailChimp or something like that. You know, if you want to look more professional, it's like $129 a year for your email system. Can't beat that.
It's worth it.
So worth it. If you got a book of 500 clients and you can send them all personalized email, what do we mean by personalized? What I'm saying is it's called mail merge, if you didn't know the terminology. Hi, Chris. And you could send that to every single person at one email.
Right.
But it's their first name.
Right.
So on your end, it would say hi first name. On their end, it would have their first name.
Right.
Saves you hours.
That's why when you get emails, you always get their name too.
Yeah.
Don't just collect an email.
Yeah. But you better have their name if you're selling them insurance.
That's a good point.
If you don't, what are you doing? How did you get their email in the first place? See, now I'm thinking you're a little sketchy if you don't have that. So, all right, let's talk about some email marketing trends. I want to help you guys because it has evolved quite a bit. What era are we living in? Mobile first.
Yeah.
Mobile phones.
Yeah.
So more than half of all email users now prefer to check their email using an app, whether that's iPhone, the Mail app, Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, whatever you use.
Right.
Think about your own preferences. If you're listening to this podcast, I bet you're listening through an app.
Right.
Spotify
On your
or
phone.
our Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
So you probably check your email the same way. So that you need to keep that in mind when designing emails that convert. It's important to design your content with these trends in mind. So if an email is difficult to navigate on a phone, you're wasting your time.
Right.
Forget the computer. This is actually cool because what this means is whereas maybe in like 2010 or 2000 up to now, the last 20 years,
God, it's
pretty
been
much
20 years already.
Yeah. Email marketing has been a thing. Yeah. 20 years, you would want to have that software that had like really cool design functionality and could create all these HTML graphics and looks really cool. To be honest with you, simpler is better now because the more that stuff that you do, the less it's likely to convert well on a phone.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It has to cram all those graphics into a phone screen. Also, what if somebody's on LTE and they got one bar because they live out in the country?
Oh, yeah. It'll eat
It'd
it
take
up.
friggin' 10 minutes to load your email. So that's not worth it. Simple designs have actually shown to convert better in the mobile first era, especially when they're personalized for the user. So
Makes sense.
mobile first, people. Mobile first. Okay, the second thing you need to know about these trends, email personalization. Have you ever received an email about a product or service, Chris? I bet you have, that you are not interested in.
Probably every day.
We all have, and we all hate it.
Yes.
Nobody wants to get emails about crap they don't care about.
No.
That
No.
goes back into spam. What is spam? It's irrelevant content. Okay?
It's junk.
It's junk. Sometimes your inbox puts it in junk for you because it knows it's junk.
That's what I like about the junk folder.
So make sure that you are sending relevant information to the right users. And always, always, always personalize it to their first name. This makes the emails feel like they're coming directly from you. Even though you might have sent it to 1,000 people, it feels like a one-on-one conversation.
Right. And you're probably going to say this, but I was going to say have a subject matter that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, and you don't have to overthink this,
No.
right? Just think about if you were sending an email personalized to one person, write your emails that way, except you're sending it to thousands of people
Right.
or 100 people. Depends on your list.
Right.
Okay. I think we can close that part. Okay, and then the third trend that we're seeing a lot with email marketing is increased software integrations. So there are tons of options to choose from when you're looking for an email service provider. There is, here we go. I'm just going to list a few off the top of my head. ConvertKit, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Aweber, Drip. Okay, I'm going to stop spinning my wheels. There's more than that. There's way more than that, actually. Okay. You got all these options out there, but the most important consideration is whether or not they can integrate with your other tools. That's what you need to be looking at. And what do I mean by integrate? What I mean is you got to save time. Don't be wasting your time with tedious tasks. This is the day and age of automation.
Yeah.
You need to take advantage of that.
Right.
So in other words, if my CRM data does not transfer into my email data, it's a no-go. It's a no-go. Either I need to change my email system or my CRM.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, agency block. We are pushing them. I hope they don't listen to this podcast to better integrate with other systems, because it's made me not recommend their system to agents because it's not the greatest marketing system. Okay. I'm going to get off that bandwagon. Anyway, make sure that you're using a tool that you can integrate with other systems. That's why I'm saying that Gmask could be a great tool for you guys, because if you're using Gmail already, especially if you're using the G Suite, your spreadsheets, your email, all that can be in one system. So
that is nice.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
That's insanely cheap.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure that all that data is in one place. It can be integrated together so that you're equipped to accurately communicate with your audience. Once again, I am an ActiveCampaign affiliate, or I guess I should say the brokerage is. So if you did sign up for ActiveCampaign, we actually are qualified and have been educated on how we can best help you set that up. We can consult with you. We're not sponsored by them or anything, but that's like my recommended email service provider. Chris is pretty familiar with MailChimp herself.
Yes, I use MailChimp, and I've been happy with it. But I might look at ActiveCampaign.
Well,
someday.
MailChimp is really great for bloggers and for e-commerce.
Yes,
It's really built for
yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I'm a food blogger on the side, so when I'm doing a recipe, I know I can count on MailChimp to put out the recipe the day it comes out, on an RSS feed, and so that's helpful.
Yeah.
And so I've always been happy with them.
Yeah, so know how you're going to be using your tool. So if you're in the insurance business, MailChimp, it could be the right tool, because if you use Pipedrive as your CRM, for example, and you integrate those two, it's a great solution. But you might want something that's all in one built in, or like I've been saying, I'm starting to point agents to Gmask because it worked, and we've tested it. I mean, it really does work. Belinda in our office has done some ACA messaging, and it worked like a charm, and got a bunch of webinar registrations using Gmask. So pretty cool. All right. So let's wrap this up. We're getting close to that 30-minute mark. Email marketing, it continues to reign as the channel of choice. I wrote that earlier.
Oh, I like that. Very nice.
The channel of choice for marketing communications for consumers in every age group, long after everyone predicted that it would die out. It's not dead, people. In fact, I bet while you've been listening to this podcast, you got an email notification, and I bet you clicked on it and zoned out for a couple minutes.
Hopefully you're not driving in the car.
Yeah. Not ActiveCampaign. Email is still the most effective channel. I truly believe that. So you could go with an all-in-one system, integrate with other systems. Just make sure that you're using something that gives you all the tools and abilities that we discussed today. And remember, personalize those emails. Keep them simple. Simplified design is actually better now because mobile first. So between your website, your social media, your designs, your email, everything you need to be thinking is mobile first.
Right.
Mobile first. That's how you format everything. So if you get all these systems in place, we're talking about giving you all these strategies, and it's going to cost you less than the commission you make from a single Medicare Advantage sale. Not many businesses can say that. If you're trying to start up a business, or you're getting your systems in place, your infrastructure, there's not many businesses where you can say, yeah, I spent less than one sale on everything I needed to run my business. That's pretty freaking cool. So this podcast, it barely scratches the surface. We could talk for hours and hours on this, but we're not going to, because we try to keep it to 30 minutes. We're not Joe Rogan. Okay. But anyway, when it comes to the possibilities of email marketing, I really think your options are endless. And there's a lot that you can accomplish. But we hope this helps you see its value, and that it encourages you to find ways to apply this marketing channel in your business. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the BrokerLink podcast, where we encourage agents to stay independent, sell more, and earn more. Make sure you check us out at our website, thebrokerageinc.com. Make sure you're on our email list, and we will see you next time.
You've been listening to the BrokerLink podcast, hosted by The Brokerage Inc. Join us again next week with new information about growing your business.